what they speak to.
What's the next article?
Let me proceed. Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans
that
commit
is
more rape
Pressley,
and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of
Data
you all
from
trying to get
Texas
thrown out of
shows
committees
that
so you can get on
US-born
MSNBC
Americans
is going to
commit
end.
more
We're not
rape.
going to put up with it.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering. America. Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Dumbmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. It seems as though the theme for 2025, at least in these first couple of months, is that everything is going to be a fight in D.C. Even the littlest things are going to be contested between Democrats and Republicans, all because Donald Trump won the 2024 election. So it seems like we're all going to be punished with conflict going forward. But hey, that's okay by me. I'm going to be blessed with content to show you guys exchanges like this between James Comer and Ayanna Pressley that occurred at the House Oversight Committee concerning sanctuary cities, where the mayors from different cities, including from Denver and New York and Boston, all appeared before Congress to basically get browbeat over their sanctuary city policies. Well, Ayanna Pressley had an interaction with James Comey that shows how high tensions have been growing lately in DC. And we're going to go through this interaction as well as each side's interpretation of what happened and how they're both kind of right and both kind of wrong here. But before we get to all that, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. And if you like what you see and hear in this or any other video on the channel, smash that thumbs up button. Like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff. Because all that's going to help this channel grow via the YouTube algorithm.
Yes, that's it. Feed me.
As always, gang, thank you so much for all that you do to help grow the channel, whether you're watching here on YouTube, on Rumble, on X, if you're catching all the videos we're putting up on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for all you're doing and helping the channel grow. I appreciate all those efforts. And if you're a newbie out there who may be finding us wherever we are for the first time, I hope this video earns your follow, your subscription, your like, your share, all the stuff we need to help grow as we discuss this interaction between Ayanna Pressley and James Comer in the House Oversight Committee. It was a doozy. I don't know how familiar you guys are with House committee hearings. I mean, you're probably politically tuned in because, I mean, hey, you found this little channel here, right? But let me just give you a quick rundown of how these committees seem to work.
Nerd alert!
What happens is they invite witnesses to give sworn testimony. In this case, it was mayors from sanctuary cities, and Republicans and Democrats get equal time. Now, in this session of Congress, the Republicans have the majority, so they have more members. They control the chair. They control the agenda. But everyone gets a chance to speak. And during the course of these hearings, these committee hearings, you'll hear people making requests either for unanimous consent to put documents into the record, points of parliamentary procedure, points of personal privilege, things like that, sometimes to disrupt the flow, sometimes because they have an actual grievance that they want to have addressed before the committee moves on through their business.
Boring.
This is one of those unanimous consent requests. It's going to be made by Ayanna Pressley concerning some documents she once entered into the record. James Comey is the chair of the House Oversight Committee. He's going to be presiding over this. Okay, I have to stop here because I'm a buffoon. I mispronounced James Comer's name. I call him James Comey for some reason. I guess I had that other buffoon on the brain here. So whenever you hear me say Comey, I mean Comer for this video. And now back to it.
Such a loser. I hate you.
Chair recognizes
Mr. Chairman, I have unanimous consent
Subramanian.
request. Mr. Chairman, I have unanimous consent request.
Proceed.
I'd like to seek unanimous consent to enter into the record this article, and I'll do this as a survivor of sexual violence myself. This is from Courts, March 2018.
Without objection, so ordered.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born
Without objection, so ordered. We've put it in the record.
I haven't entered it.
You have what?
Mr. Chair, can I have several articles. I need to enter them. Let me just go ahead with what the articles are, what they speak to.
What's the next article?
Let me proceed. Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans
that is
commit
not-
more rape
Presley,
and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this
Okay, so that's where things kind of break down there. So let's go through what happened here. So Ayanna Pressley had a parliamentary request, a unanimous consent request, to enter an article into the record. And Comey, being the head of the committee presiding over the meeting, probably because he wants to get on with things, this is a big hearing and everybody needs to get their say on the record and whatever, he says, great, without objection, so ordered. That is now entered into the record. But Ayanna Pressley wanted to describe the article further and said that she had more coming. So, okay, fair enough, there are more coming. Comer asked for the next article to be entered into the record. But Pressley, feeling miffed that she was shut down from making a little bit of a speech where she really wasn't recognized for that purpose, decided to go into describing the first article again. And Comer does not seem to be having it. In fact, we're going to back up a little bit and watch the breakdown of this interaction again. Here we go.
Rape
Presley,
and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you
Data
all
from
trying to get
Texas
thrown out of
shows
committee
that
so you can get on
US-born
MSNBC is going to
Americans
end.
commit more
We're not
rape.
going to put up with it.
This
Noises!
is my
Chair recognizes
procedural
Mr.
right as a
Subramaniam.
member of this committee
You can
to
go.
enter documents
You can go with
into the
Mr.
record.
Frost and Mr.
I'm
Green.
reclaiming my time.
That's
you
what
do
you
not
want.
get to
No.
dictate
Ms. Presley,
how
I've been
I
very,
recite the
I have
articles
been
for
very
the
accommodating
record.
to you, Mr. Subramaniam.
And I take particular umbrage as a survivor of sexual violence. I will enter into the record. This is my right. Thank you.
No. It is Mr. Subramaniam.
Mr. Chair,
No, you know the process of unanimous consent. You are not
I have
recognized.
several articles to enter into.
Now, I don't know if you saw there, but there was a staff member that basically handed Comer what to say. A lot of times in these committee hearings, it's not really the members that run things, it's the staff. The staff knows the procedures and the rules of the committee. They're hired to run the committee, basically. So the Republicans are in charge. Republican staff member goes to Comer, tells him what to say. The whole breakdown between them has to do with who controls the time. Ayanna Pressley thinks she controls the time. She was only given time to make the entries into the record by unanimous consent, not to grandstand and make a speech over it. On the other hand, Comer seemed to be a little quick on the trigger. Now, remember, we've talked about this in previous episodes, like on Behind Enemy Lines and whatnot, talking about how Democrats have become more petulant in their resistance. And, let's be clear. Petulance isn't resistance. Petulance is acting like spoiled children and crying and bitching and moaning and complaining. That is what Ayanna Pressley ends up doing here. But Comer was a little quick on the trigger when Pressley refused to enter in the second article that he was allowing her to do under her rights as a member of the committee. Ayanna Pressley misunderstood her rights, thinking that she could just speak on whatever she's entering into the record. And Comer shut her down because there's this tension right now with Democrats being petulant like this. We saw this with Al Green, Maxwell Frost. We saw this with so many other members of the committee, Jasmine Crockett, of course, others, how they are not observing regular order and instead trying to do whatever the hell they want to. So Comer may have had a little bit of a quick trigger here, in my opinion. But as you see, the argument broke down into a shouting match, and the committee then moved on in its business with the testimony here from these mayors of sanctuary cities. But both sides, of course, went to media, went to different meetings, and were able to express their own reaction to what happened here. And when we get back from the break, we're going to look at the reactions from both Comer and Pressley to this interaction between them. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. So this is James Comer's reaction and his accounting of his interaction with Ayanna Pressley at that House Oversight Committee hearing. Here he is on Fox News talking about it.
It wasn't her turn to speak. Everyone's watched congressional hearings. Everybody gets equal time. You rotate between Republicans and Democrats. She kept interrupting. She wanted to be thrown out. She wanted to have that viral moment. And it makes it impossible to govern in this toxic environment when you have these liberal Democrats that are disrupting. That was a serious substantive hearing about sanctuary cities and who's paying for this and the threat to our ICE officers who are trying to go into these sanctuary cities and deport the criminal illegals.
Okay, so that's his account of things, and it's pretty much what I said earlier on, that he didn't recognize Congresswoman Pressley to speak. She was only recognized for the purpose of submitting documents for a unanimous consent request. But Ayanna Pressley, at least in James Comer's mind, took that opportunity to grandstand, to break the rules of the committee, and he told her that she was not recognized for this speech. And then he referenced to what's been going on in this toxic environment that's been created since Donald Trump took office, coming from leftist Democrats. Pretty cut and dry from James Comer. And now it's Congresswoman Pressley's turn.
I think to be a Black woman in this country is to manage a dichotomy of hyper visibility and invisibility. And sometimes people think because I'm a member of Congress and I have a title after my name, which I worked hard to earn, that exempts me from these indignities and injustices. It does not. So whether you are a 12-year-old Black girl experiencing criminalization in your school for wearing your hair in an ethno-Afrocentric hairstyle and being pushed out of the classroom, or whether you are a member of Congress, I'm still a Black woman and I still experience these harms.
Okay, so we're starting out that it's racism? That what happened in this committee hearing is that because she is a woman of color in Congress, that she has to suffer these indignities coming from people like James Comer, who, by the way, from his accent, you can tell he's a Southern Republican. So automatically she's setting this up as a race issue, which, by the way, never came up in the context of the committee hearing. You saw the clip earlier. Did anybody mention race? Ayanna Pressley is trying to imply that her behavior here was based upon her skin color, not any sort of issues with the rules of the committee. Let's press on.
So for those of you who didn't see it, there was a hearing in the Committee on Oversight and Reform with mayors from throughout the country who represent sanctuary cities. My mayor, an incredible mayor, Michelle Wu from the city of Boston, was there in defense of our values and our policies. And the Republicans were fear-mongering and their xenophobia and profiling who are the perpetrators of sexual assault.
Listen to this beautiful narrative of what was going on in this hearing. Obviously, she's talking to a friendly crowd. I think this was at South by Southwest in Austin. Ayanna Pressley framing the committee hearing as going after her lovely Boston Mayor Michelle Wu and fear-mongering and xenophobia and all this horrible stuff that Republicans are doing, that they always do apparently because they are evil white racists.
And I took issue with this. I'm a survivor of sexual violence, and I wanted to get the facts on the record. So I did something that is very commonplace in a committee hearing. I asked for unanimous consent to introduce records into the official record. And it was to counter their narrative. And the article was actually about Texas. It was from a publication called Quartz. And the title of the article was US-born citizens commit more sexual assault than immigrants. And he would not allow me to introduce this article into the record.
Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute here. I think we got a little bit of revisionist history coming from Ayanna Pressley. Let's check the instant replay.
This is from Quartz, March 2018.
Without objection, so ordered.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born
Without objection, so ordered. We've put it in the record.
There it is. He entered it into the record without objection. The article is part of the record. He then asked for a second article that she wanted to put in.
Mr. Chair, can I have several articles. I need to enter them. Let me just go ahead with what the articles are. What they speak to.
What's the next article?
Let me proceed.
And there you have it. Ayanna Pressley did not like that she didn't get to talk about the article, and instead of putting in the next of however many articles she had into the record, she went against the chair's direction, kept talking the way that she wanted to, and, well, you saw what happened after that. It's this sort of revisionist history from Ayanna Pressley is what causes all these political fights to happen. Everyone is so wrapped up in the moment and letting their emotions get to them. They're hot messes that the facts don't matter anymore. I talk about these hot messes in my book, Schnooks, Crooks, Lies, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, available right now on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores.
This guy is a grifter.
Ayanna Pressley let her emotions get to her. You saw that in the interaction. James Comer did the same. When Ayanna Pressley was becoming a little more emphatic in what she wanted to do, which was against Comer's directives from the chair, he got hot, she got hot, and they both went off the handle. Comer went off the handle about the idea of Democrats being this toxic party at this point and being a little overly sensitive to Pressley's actions, sort of grouping her together with Maxwell Frost and Jasmine Crockett and Al Green and that ilk. And Ayanna Pressley took the chair's directive as an affront to her privilege as a member of Congress to enter things into the record as she sees fit. They're both wrong in varying degrees here, but I think as we saw with what Ayanna Pressley was talking about here, this point that stuck in her head was that she was being barred from doing something that a member of Congress could do, and it just all degraded and went downhill from there, as you'll see from her subsequent narrative here.
And first she said I was not following the rules, which I was. But I've been in Congress 6 years. Before that, I was on city council for 8 years. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. I know what was in my rights procedurally. I was honoring procedure. And that man sought to demean me, to embarrass me. He wanted to make me feel small, out of order, when I was very much in order. And I held my ground. I continued to reclaim my time, because I know when I reclaim my time, figuratively, I'm doing that for every Black woman. I'm doing that for every woman who has had a man condescend her, talk down to her, seek to diminish her power.
Would you give it a rest?
And there you have it. She got all up in her feelings. Remember how she framed this whole discussion first, talking about being a member of Congress, being a woman of color, and that framed her entire experience in this interaction. She automatically thought that this man was trying to take away her power, was trying to take away her voice, when all he was doing was trying to run a committee hearing. And, well, you saw the rest here. Ayanna Pressley is more of a hot mess, in my opinion, than Comer was, but they were both wrong here. If this is what we're going to be getting from Congress in 2025, both sides need to take a breath and calm the fuck down. Not everything is going to be a toxic move by a Democrat, and not every Republican is a xenophobic racist trying to hold down Black women and take away their power. That's not what's going on here, folks. Everyone's got their back up so much because of the reactionary politics of 2025 that this is what you're going to end up seeing a lot more butting heads unnecessarily occurring in the halls of Congress. This was a freaking unanimous consent request. It's not a big deal. It's not the end-all and be-all of what's going to be coming out of Congress. If Ayanna Pressley wanted to make a little bit of a speech about it, you could have given her a little latitude, but because of the politics of the moment, James Comer thought that, oh, here we go again, another toxic liberal coming at me this time, and I'm going to nip it in the bud. And while he's entitled to his reaction, and while Ayanna Pressley is entitled to her feelings about these evil white racist Republicans, both lost their objectivity and both ended up looking pretty bad. I think Pressley looks a little worse than Comer does, but let's be clear, there are no winners, there are no heroes in this interaction. Well, at least that's just my opinion on what's going on here. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is there a winner here between James Comer and Ayanna Pressley, as we like to talk about winners and losers and owning the libs or owning the conservatives or whatever the case may be? Do you think there is a quote-unquote winner here? Let's talk about that in the comments together. And as always, like and share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the shows. Personally, I think there are nothing but losers here, including us, the American people, who have to put up with these shenanigans and buffoonery. But hey, I could be wrong, and you can let me know in the comments when discussing this video, as well as all the other shenanigans and buffoonery that's happening every day this week in Dumbmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.